The New York Giants have defeated the Minnesota Vikings in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs, and we are on to take on the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia next week. Let's get the vibes rolling. If you want the Giants to beat the Eagles in the playoffs, I need you to help me out. Like this video right now. You hate the Eagles, like this video. Want the Giants to get another dub? Hit that thumbs up icon right now. Yo! The New York Football Giants have won a playoff game for the first time since the 2011 season, the last time the Giants won a Super Bowl. Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's show, we're going to preview next week's game, the next playoff game. It doesn't even sound real. It doesn't feel real, but the Giants are going to round two of the NFL playoffs, and they're going to be taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, they went 4-3 in the regular season. The Giants, they went 9-7-1. But all that matters right now is that the Giants are 1-0 in the playoffs. The time is TBD at the moment. Once we get that, we will put that in the comment section. We'll talk about the Giants versus the Eagles, and then we'll recap a little bit of Giants versus Vikings at the tail end of the show. But first, who do you got? Who do you got winning the playoff game? Sound off in the comment section. Type NYG for the Giants. Type PHI for the Philadelphia Eagles, that fraud-ass franchise. They call themselves the City of Champions. I don't know how you say champions when you only have one championship. Let me know who you got, though, next week. Giants, Eagles. Type NYG for the Giants, PHI for the Philadelphia Eagles. This organization has been here before. It is hard to beat a team to 3 times in one season. It's hard to beat a team three times in one season. This gives me 2018 matchup versus Dallas vibes in the playoffs. Remember when that happened? When the Giants lost twice to the Dallas Cowboys in the regular season, and they played the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional round of the playoffs against the Dallas Cowboys? What happened? The Giants won. They lost the games in the regular season. Who gives a shit? They won the game when it matters most. Giants didn't beat the Eagles this year. Fine. Whatever. They didn't play the starters in Week 18. And I don't think the Eagles could score. I know they didn't score. They couldn't score. I watched that game. It was field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal. And the Giants continued to bend but not break. The thing is, they couldn't get any help on the offensive side from Davis Webb, the backup offensive lineman, and the backup weapons. Thing is, this ain't Week 18. The Eagles aren't going to be playing against the backups against the New York Football Giants. They have to play the New York Giants at full strength in the playoffs at the Link. It is going to be crazy. It is going to be wild. Giants have earned this. Win, lose, or draw, this is more. I could never ask more of this season. Daniel Jones, Brian Dable, Saquon Barkley, Mike Kafka, Wink Martindale, everybody on defense. Thank you for an awesome season. But it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop here. The show goes on. Because I ain't effing leaving. If you know, you know. If you hate the Philadelphia Eagles, type F Philly in the comments. I hate the Eagles. And I know you hate the Eagles. So join me in the comments section. Let's type F Philly. Let's get the vibes going. So I'm a big mindset guy. I believe if you think it, you can do it. And I think the Giants can win. I think the Giants will win. F Philly is my mindset all week long. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Put out videos every single day. We're going to be live next week for Giants versus Eagles. But we also have an Eagles channel here at Chat Sports called Eagles Now, run by my good friend Chase Sr. And I just don't want to only beat the Eagles on the football field. I want to beat them in the subscriber battle. So help me out. If you hate the Eagles, you love the Giants, you're looking for daily videos, weekly live shows, and watch parties every single Sunday, go down right now. Hit that big red button. Sub for Giants playoff dubs. Let's freaking go, Big Blue. Let's take a look at some stats now for the Eagles. Their offensive stats, we know they're one of the best offenses in the National Football League. They average the third most points per game. They average the third most yards per game. They average the fifth most rushing yards per game. And they average the ninth most passing yards per game. We saw earlier in the season when the Giants played the Eagles the first time, the Eagles blew them out of the water. But in the second time, I feel like the Giants made some adjustments, and even though their backups were playing, we were able to limit what they wanted to do on the offensive side of the ball. You want to slow down the Eagles' offense, you got to slow down Jalen Hurts, the guy that is competing and put up a season that is going to get him MVP votes. He completed 66% of his passes, 3,700 yards passing, another 760 on the ground, 35 total touchdowns, and 8 turnovers. He takes care of the ball. He plays smart football. He takes what they give you. But I have seen, if you get pressure on Jalen Hurts, he will fuck up, and he will turn the football over. The guys you're going to have to slow down are these 3 guys. A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers in the National Football League, had an amazing season this year with 11 touchdowns, 88 receptions, almost 1,500 yards. Devontae Smith, he's damn good as well. They have 2 really good receivers. 95 receptions, almost 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. They have a really good tight end. 55 grabs, 700 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Last week, the Giants struggled to slow down a guy like T.J. Hawkinson. You got to slow down A.J. Brown. You got to slow down Devontae Smith. You got to slow down Dallas Goedert. And you can't let Miles Sanders get loose on the ground. He is really the difference maker for this Philadelphia Eagles offense. It seems like whenever he has a really good game, the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball have a really good game, and he had a really good season of 260 carries, almost 1,300 yards, 5 yards per pop, and 11 touchdowns. If you can slow down this run game, and you can make the Eagles one-dimensional where they have to throw the football, I think the Giants are in a really good spot to win this football game. Got to stop this offense. You got to make this a defensive game. If it comes out to a blowout, not a blowout, a shootout, I think the Giants are in a little bit of trouble. But you slow down. Sanders, Smith, and the crew that they have, they're going to be sitting really pretty come next week when we may be talking about the NFC Championship. The Giants, they're 1-0 in the playoffs, and I believe their playoff run is just starting, and we are selling some New York Giants playoff gear. Get it today. chatsports.com/NYG playoffs. We have Nike shirts. We have regular shirts. We showed you the hoodie. chatsports.com/NYG playoffs. Get your gear. It'll come in time if you order it today for the playoff game next week. I got mine already. I'm going to be rocking it all week. Go to chatsports.com/NYG playoffs. On the defensive side of the ball, we know the Eagles are one of the best defenses, if not the best defense, in the National Football League. They allow just 20.2 points per game, which is the 8th best. They allow just 301 yards per game, which is the best. They allow just 180 yards per game through the air, the best. Thing is, though, this is where you beat them. This past week, the Giants beat the Vikings through the air. Saquon Barkley only had 9 rushes. This is where you got to beat the Eagles. They allow 121 yards per game, which is 16th in the NFL. That's where you win this game, is running the football. You know how you lose this game? Falling behind early, becoming pass happy, and letting the pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles pin their ears back and get to you. They have the number 1 sack percentage in the NFL of 11%. Comes down to the O-line for the Giants. Andrew Thomas, I trust him. He's going to hold down his side. He's going to win that matchup. Ben Bredeson and Nick Gates continue to rotate at that left guard spot. I trust them. John Feliciano, he's up and down, but overall, he's been pretty good this season. Mark Lewinsky, he's been okay. Had his games. Had some games where he struggled. My eyes are on Evan Neal, though. Evan Neal has had an up and down rookie season. Struggled a little bit in the wild card game against Darius Smith and Daniil Hunter, but did enough to keep them off of Daniel Jones. These front 5 show up. They play their best game of the year. Giants are going to win their football game. That's what it's going to take. These guys have to play the best game of their career in the season for them to win. Daniel Jones was solid all year long. He was solid against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Minnesota Vikings as well. In that game against the Vikings, Daniel Jones, 24 completions on 35 attempts, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 17 rushes for 78 yards. This dude is incredible. He's been great. Need him to do it one more time. Just saw, like we're talking about DJ, Saquon Barkley needs to show up as well. He wasn't asked to do too much against Minnesota. Had 9 carries for 53 yards, 2 touchdowns, had that 28-yard touchdown run. He also had 5 carries for 56 yards. That's where I thought, 5 catches, for 56 yards. That's where I thought he was most effective. This is going to be a Saquon Barkley game. Giants want to beat the Eagles. They got to run through Saquon Barkley. They're also going to have to lean on this 4 right here. Darius Slayton, Richie James, Isaiah Hodgins, and Daniel Bellinger. Hodgins had 105 yards against the Vikings. Slayton had 88 yards. Hodgins also had a touchdown. Richie James had 4 catches for 31 yards. Daniel Bellinger, I'd like to see him get a little bit more involved. He had 2 catches for 17 yards and a touchdown. I think the most important thing, though, is you got to play a clean football game. You got to win the turnover battle. You can't turn the football over. The Eagles are not a team where the Giants can afford to have turnovers and win this football game. It's just not something that they can do. Daniel Jones, continue to take care of the ball. Saquon Barkley, high and tight, Tom Coughlin style. Receivers, catch it, get north and south, protect the football. You play a clean game. I believe the Giants win the turnover battle, they could beat the Eagles. I truly, truly believe that. I want you to predict the score for me in the comment section. Predict the score. Who you got? Who's going to win in the score? Let me know in the comment section. We'll wrap up the video talking about the injury report. Azeez Ojulari was ruled out with a quad injury. This was back against Minnesota. He didn't play the second half, said he was kneed in the thigh, a source said. He'll have tests tomorrow to determine if there is additional damage, but was walking without much of a limp post-game. That's a good sign. You got to get him back. If you could have your defensive line of Azeez Ojulari, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Leonard Williams, that's a difference maker. That is a difference maker. Eagles have a great O-line. You got to have your players play in the defensive line. Jason Pinnock also left the game against the Minnesota Vikings. He was taken to a local hospital to check on his abdomen. He returned to the stadium and will fly back with the team. Good news there after he was carted off. Big ups to Pinnock. Big ups to Azeez Ojulari. We need both those guys to take down the fraud Feagles next week. Wrap up a little bit. I just want to talk about this game this Sunday. I'm so proud of this team. Daniel Jones played the best game of his NFL career. 24, 35, 300 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. He gave you another 17 carries for almost 80 yards. He was great. He had a touchdown called back on the ground due to a 2-minute motion at the same time. He was great. Isaiah Hodgins, he's got to be the best mid-season pickup at the wide receiver spot for any team in the National Football League. I'm so proud of this team. No matter what happens against the Eagles, this has been beyond a successful season. Daniel Jones is our QB going forward. I believe that. I think Saquon Barkley is here to stay as well. We're going to keep you up to date all week long on the latest Giants news and rumors as we head into the divisional round against the Philadelphia Eagles. There's 8 teams left, and the Giants are one of them. Enjoy it, Giants fans. We hadn't had a playoff win since 2011. It's 2023. Enjoy it. You never know when you get back to this moment. To stay up to date, subscribe to the channel, and hit me up on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. And let's go, G-Man!